Anyway, let's just get right to it. Advisory. This is a poetry advisory. There will be no meditation on a train poem. There will be no awakening in the woods poem. There will be no gay summer day at the beach picnic poem. Believe me, I tried to shoehorn the classic bird watching poem into this damn book to make it more well-rounded, but at every revision, sharp tongues and barbed adjectives protruded, everything screamed, "This is not the story. Stick to the story." So there will be no family Christmas poems. There will be no grandma teaching origami poem, no Nona making meatballs poems, no family vacations to Hawaii, Grants Pass, or Disneyland poem. There will be no weddings, no birthdays, at least none with any semblance of celebration. There will likely be no poems about any pets. For this, or rather for me, to turn out right, for me to get the stains out, I have to scrub it all with rough, abrasive words. If you want Hallmark, there are plenty of poets to wash you with baked breads and Grammys knitted sweaters. Do a Google search. As a child, I was sexually assaulted. That refrain will show up a lot in future lessons. Dicks, swearing fetishes, rape fantasies. I cover the taboo waterfront in this class with zero patience for fear and zero tolerance for shame. I make no apologies for rubbing your noses in it, just like my parents rubbed the nose of the childhood beagle, Penelope's face, into that antique Persian rug brought back from Turkey before I was born. To the young poets, katana is the metaphor. Katana is a single-edged sword, traditionally used by samurai. I know this to be true because I've seen the Seven Samurai, so I can assure you, jian, a Chinese war sword, is not the metaphor, nor is cutlass, claymore, or Katzblogger. Adirondack, Barcelona, Bubble, Tulip, the number 14, Windsor, all are chairs, and there you can see is the dilemma. When I say flamingo, do I mean Chilean, Andean, Caribbean? When I say pasta, do I mean grano, mezzani, orzo? Surely I would not mean gagliate, sakate, or ursiolate, but somebody, in Iceland maybe, does. So if the metaphor is katana, and I assure you that it is seating styles, avian arrangements, pasta polygons, corolla clusters will never define what I want them to, will never do the grunge work the katana will do. I assure you this to be true. I also assure you, as my sensei did with me, people would rather eat a cheese sandwich than read your poem. So my sandwich is made with a katana. No, my sandwich is made at 12 o'clock on Saturday night with a katana wielded by James Belushi, by John Belushi in the Samurai Deli skit. See, now you have no choice but to eat what I serve. A toasted deviled egg and ham on wheat, and sit where I tell you. At the end of the bar on a stool, not that one, Rita Hayworth sits there. Now, if you do not want me running rampant through your field of innocence on acid when you abstained from sex, then take a flashlight to the darkness you dwell in and illuminate the cellar so that you may gather the ingredients. Take a fan to your clouded visions and disperse the smoke congregating in your kitchen. Bring your unveiled truths to the courthouse and put them on trial in front of the paparazzi wielding their starving cameras, and confess in your apron you did indeed attempt to poison the poem with cliches. And then take your katana to the rye, wheat, French, olive, shibata, like a samurai sandwich technician, and give me no choice but to sit down, shut up, and eat it. So we got a lot of, obviously, stuff going on in the world, and I am as frustrated about it as anybody else. Um, so I have come to a place in my life where any metaphor involving apes or dogs or slugs to describe humans is an insult to all other species. Even referring to the sapien simian as mold or fungi is a slander against mold and fungi, who do more for the planet's balance than a Cro-Magnon gesticulating in our shouting fits about taxes, healthcare, or gun control. The time has come to refer to people not as chimpanzees gone wild, flipping their feces like a fencing match, but as bipedal bastards and boneheads who dump their detritus in the drinking water and call it a day before slouching on their spoilt pot-belly way to the long table where they will stare at numbers they can only imagine as being bigger next quarter. These are the types who Mother Nature would have snuffed out with a mountain lion or some kind of fast-spreading virus. But instead, we do all in our power to keep the overstuffed obsoletes alive, because somehow our morals supersede laws of nature. Designed to keep everything in its place and has a place for everything. If we would just get out of the way and let our mother do as nature intended. Movie night. This poem was inspired by in two things. One, the penchant for people in comment sections and online places like Reddit just to take dumps on everything. And also the idea that the opposite idea that criticism is obsolete. And I've seen a few movies in my day. I've been around and I've seen some films, some donkey droppings, some burrow bricks, some real colossal cinematic llama leftovers, monolithic molding Asian monster films, bubblegum colored cellophane blob films, evil Black Lagoon films, evil alien girlfriend from Mars films, archaeologists accidentally awaken evil Mayan god films, forbidden planet films, dangerous planet films, empty planets with evil ancient civilization films, planets occupied by evil blood-sucking lice films, vampires chasing garlicky teen films, zombies strutting after slow-moving teen films, mass psychos chasing slow-moving, drug-using, sex-addicted, alcohol-abusing teen films who always seem to be in alone in cabin films. And then there is that film with crass, with eye rolls, with adolescent anal activities that film with burp, with scuzz, with more scum than a nudie bar top, even considering every philosopher's philosophical philosophy that we are all the same age and the same neutrinos born at the same time cannot shake the reality that this film sucks the thought right down to, where was I? Oh yes, it is the worst. No, Hands down the worst. No, hands down the worst. I want restitutions, retributions, reimbursement for the minutes that died in watching this maggot and brie mixture. I've heard commercials with better scores. Cauliflower has more screen presence than this jello salad of lead-headed leads. Now, what else is there that I can whip with my tongue and lash with my pen that's on TV right now?
Woo! Yeah.
All right. It was Pride weekend, and recently a few people have asked, like, do I ever write anything about that, considering I'm part of the community? And I do, and sometimes I'll read some things. Corporate floats pride. I didn't have to fight to be queer. I just didn't. Even if it wasn't an accident of my birth, there were other designs in my life that put rainbows often third, fourth, even fifth in line for attention. I never made a megaphone speech. I never walked out of some walk-in to applause and a loud diva anthem about being true to yourself. I just walked and walked and walked and walked. Without all the information or any answers that made sense, I was shamed for it. I was blamed for it. I was accused of lying about it, but I was unshaken in who I was. Everybody knew, even without me naming it and claiming it. I was a neon billboard, a performative declaration of my state of queer independence that would not have made any of the rest of the hike easier. Because my weights were not tied to flags, but generational trauma, abuse passed down from adults, authorities, and institutions, establishments in fancy buildings established to maintain the silence and attempt some form of control. Scientifically, the only way to kill color is with the absence of light, and even thought about dousing my flame 3 different times, and others tried to smother my embers in their own toxic ways. Whether I was a candle, an Art Deco lamp, a flashlight, or a superhero spotlight calling card, my battery never ran out. So I am not a prop or a convenient cash cow for your token corporate greed cause. I stay visible on the rainbow spectrum all year round. You can slap the coffee mermaid, the bitten apple, and the swoosh of victory with a rainbow, but I know you only change color once a year, and only in safe spaces of big cities and mainly Western countries, and thus are not including all queers, just those you think can safely afford your prices. But our light does not bend to your performance. We glow neon no matter what. You, meanwhile, have to Photoshop it on, and you're doing a very, very bad job. The F word. It is not the F word. It is a complex word that lives in my brain and wears many different costumes. And you have now made me stop my daily to think about why you chose to say it in such a castrated way, as if context is just beyond my queer mental grasp, as if queers in general are too weak to handle savage language. You casually softened it with a sitcom swear word type leap, yet surely you know you said the word anyway. You just tiptoed around eggshells of letters to do it. And in the process, raped the word of its voice. And you must surely also know, I know you said it. Like that other hyphen word, it's really easy to translate. The word is supposed to have power. It's supposed to be hard to handle and harder to say, or in certain cases, can be fun and even randy, or a sentimental term of endearment. And in other instances, heaven forbid, a playful put down among longtime pals, pruning the word down to a participation ribbon to make it more comfortable for you to say just gives the real threats a get out of jail free card. Except bigots have the conviction and do not fear PC prison. They know exactly how and where the word slices. They like their jagged letters intact. No flat line dulling the edges. But you want to say the word without committing to it. Basically watering down the language in the same way you watered down your parents' vodka in high school. But vodka is still vodka, no matter how watered down. It just becomes an insult to people who can handle their liquor. And the F word is an insult to language and an insult to me. So to all you Stalins of slang goose-stepping to neutered letter words because you think you will get a hall pass in the University of Uncomfortable Language just because you think you're saying it more politely, or worse, not at all. Don't treat me like I'm too dumb to differentiate a word being used as a word and all the prejudice, phobic, racist, whoever's saying it like they mean it. I already know what they think I am, but I'm not so sure about you.
Wow.
Animalia. I find there is no more distancing word than the way humans toss about animal. It most certainly enables the persistent denial of our biological core, fueling an idiotic ideology that we are major to their minor. Above the alpha beta bullshit of Canis lupus arctos or Orcanis orca, above the Procyon lotor hunting for scraps like bandits of the garbage bins, or the Volter gryphus gorging on rotting remains, above the stealth stalking our prey like the ballet of Astyanax juvatus, above the dancing to get a date as performed so lavishly by the likes of a Diomenda exulans. We even act like we are above the explosion of swarming Danaeus plexippus dressed in their orange finery, as if we do not also migrate to more mid-range climates in more colorful tones when temperatures at home drop to snow and ice. Zoologists will tell you the architecture of humans, government, laws, ethics, even romance, sexual orientation, gender can be spotted in species as diverse as Apis cerna, Neophelis nebulosa, Indri, Morpho Menelaus, Alces, Llama, Glama, Iguana, Aramacau, Scorfa. We may be more quote unquote complex, but superiority is definitely subjective. And complexity is not better. And honestly, with what minimal exposure I've had to, say, Elephas maximus, who walk single file, not to hide their numbers, but do less damage to their home, it seems clear our egos will be our end. Right now, people are building to conquer space up there, so we might boldly go away, escape facing the palaces of the Balaenoptera musculus we have flushed full of our forgottens, to turn away from the terrifying terraforming of the temples of the Pan Paniscus. It may be common usage to say, save the animals, toting that feel-good slogan on a tote bag, but that is simply othering through language, as if we do not also need to save ourselves from our own self-centered onslaught that scourges every surface of this galactic marble. It may be common usage to say, I love animals, as if to subtly say, we do not love ourselves, as if there is an unspoken shame that we are not worthy of inclusion in this love for all the great and the small, from the Struthio camelus to the Melasuga Helenae. I do not speak in labored Latin to confuse or further other those we would know by sight. In the grand scheme, the who does not matter. The what, the where, the why, and most importantly, the how. These are most important questions whose solutions include all. Esthenia fetida, Aurelia arita, ratus, Tradenkna, gigas, and homo sapien. Thank you.
Unmute, ladies and gentlemen. It's all right.
Ah.
Thank you, Bear.
Impressive.
Hey,
Wow.
woo.
Really great. Really great. I mean, but laid it out, laid it down, took us there, and shook it all up, and with reason and fortitude. So really, thank you.
He riffed it.
Yeah, I mean, ripped it open.
Can we just
Wow.
put that on all the stations now?
I mean,